Republicans, they just want to say that they're a Christian, but I can't consider them Christian for the count that they're obsessed with politics that are like about their material things, like money, like their taxes, like stuff like this, and they don't want to help the poor. They think we can't afford it, and they don't want to help third world nations and make the world a better place. They think we can't afford it. So these, teachings of Christ, right, are that you help the poor, right, and that you clothe the naked, and that you feed the hungry, and that you welcome the strangers. You know, and the truth is that Republicans and Americans, the only time that America was great enough where people said they were proud to be an American was you had when America was the sanctuary for all people from across the world, right? Where we were that we were we were free, safe people within the United States. That this was free, a free sovereign nation, and then on this dirt, on this land, you had rights and you were free by God, right? And this was a sanctuary for all immigrants. It was a sanctuary from communism. It was a sanctuary from fascism. It was a sanctuary for all those other government types that are the foreign policy reflected that, right? Going to war against these other nations because of the threat of communism or whatever. The only time it was great was when they said that this was the greatest country in the world, was when it was a sanctuary for all other immigrants or migrants, right? From devastated places where they said, I want to work, but their country is bad, so they had to come here, right? This was a sanctuary, the Statue of Liberty. Give me, what I mean, welcoming the immigrants, right? It was the integration of wanting them to come in here and live the American dream, right? And it so happens that even Republicans back in the day were more focused, well, like George Bush Sr. was more moderate, right? On trying to help this problem. A lot of people, a lot of people claim to be Christian, but they're not, right? But they're not. Like these days, especially these days, people are just like totally fascist. I mean, they're totally isolationist. They're totally against, and yet they call themselves Christians, but they're not. They're not Christians, right? And so it's like I start thinking about this, right? It's like obviously, and I mean, Biden was the only one that was the closest to not even Obama, but Biden was the closest one to where we should be with migrants in terms of like God and what God like what the Bible says anyway. Like how we're supposed to treat people, like integrating them and helping other nations. While the right calls it open borders or whatever, even though that's not the case, I think that Biden and the Biden administration is the closest one that we've had so far to helping immigrants, right? Pro immigration, sort of helping them, like trying to do a reform for them, right? And I mean, and they're gonna be blessed, what I mean, and ways that God will bless them, and I believe that they had the best, and they were closest to Pope Francis as well, right? Because even Obama, deported many people during the beginning of his term, during the beginning of his administration. Bush obviously was, not was not. He was all about homeland security, and after 9/11 and shit, that was a mess. And Clinton, I don't really remember far back that much, but and he's not really popular on that either. You know what I mean? But Biden, I think what was the best one if you talk about like what God wants you to do, right? To integrate people and like be helpful to other nations, to be the leader, and like to be like how you were back then, like to really take that role and say we are the best country and we're gonna prove it by being the leader and helping the other nations, right? And like he, they made that like I don't know if he made that a thing because really really, like, people say that Biden was bad, and y'all just some ungrateful motherfuckers. I mean, myself included. Anybody who didn't vote for Biden and voted for Trump are just some of the most ungrateful motherfuckers, on the planet, right? Because if y'all forget, right, everybody wants to talk about how Biden, messed up the withdrawal in Afghanistan, even though, nigga, that shit had been going on for like 20 years, and like he didn't want nothing to do with it. Why the fuck would he have to do anything to do with that? Two Democratic, presidents, thanks to Republicans, had to have to deal with something that they didn't even vote for. You know what I'm saying? 1 second. Sálguese para afuera. Sálguese para afuera, por favor. No. All right. Sorry y'all have to witness that. But anyway, what was I gonna say? So yeah, so you know what I'm saying? You have to so you remember, if you remember correctly, right? You know, okay, so my thing was, I was saying this is, if Trump is, I'm saying two Democrats have gotten embarrassed. Not really, but they try to embarrass two Democrats based on a war and based on what happened during the war, that they didn't even vote for, that we didn't vote for, but that was launched by Republicans, that they inherited, right? And then the Republicans want to say that oh, they didn't do a good job at this and that. Shut the fuck up. They had, okay, Obama got Osama bin Laden, right? He killed him, right? And he gave him he gave this stuff to Trump. Are you gonna tell me that even though they're Democrats, the Democrats somehow had better foreign policy than Trump? Okay, they did. They did. They had better policies than Trump. They held the line, right? Trump started cozying up with dictators, Nick. I mean, shit. And so, like, it brings me up to it brings me up to a point where I want to say, what I mean? Because everybody blamed Biden for the botch in Afghanistan. Why doesn't nobody care about the 500,000 Americans that under Trump's watch died? 500,000 Americans. But and that could have been saved if it wasn't for his fucking politics, because he only cares about the rich people, because he doesn't care about the lower middle class. 500,000 Americans, and nobody even says shit. Nobody even questions. Nobody even, like, it's like nobody remembers that. Nobody. I don't see them talking about it. Right? Like, MAGA should shut the fuck up and be like Democrats should be like bombarding them with that information. 400 by the time he got out of presidency, 400,000 Americans dead because he didn't want to put regulations in place, because he didn't want to wear the mask, and because he cut healthcare, and because he was cutting healthcare right before it happened. And then when they were trying to fix it, when they were rolling back, he rolled it back. He brought back too soon, and then it had a second spike, a second outbreak that caused more lives. Right? He delayed the containment of this pandemic, right? Just because he was more interested in the stock market. He lied to the public until the very last minute, when it was too late, and then the next day he said national emergency, right? I mean, what the fuck? And then, like, not to mention that he threatened to annihilate North Korea, right? And during the same fucking administration, the same 4 years, we had to deal with a pandemic and probably what he was trying to fucking a nuclear war. And you gonna tell me he did a good fucking job, nigga? 500,000 Americans dead, and he's over there talking about he wants to push the button and all this bullshit and all this fucking dumb shit. All this fucking nonsense. Not to mention that he gave $9 trillion to be made for the top elite 10% of people. To the top 1%, probably. And you gonna tell me he did a good fucking job? Everybody like, what the fuck did he do for you? He didn't do shit for you. He didn't do fucking shit. Like it's like this. It's like this. You know how they say trickle down economics don't work. In 08, 09, they introduced quantitative easing because the greedy fucking Wall Street crashed the markets, right? Because their greed, they started selling fucking subprimes and shit. Y'all know the story. They caused the housing market crash. Then the government decided to introduce quantitative easing, a fiscal policy, in order for them to bail out the banks. So, and what happened during that shit? They said it was going to trickle down. That we had to bail the banks out because the banks are going to are the ones that have the money for the people. And if the banks go down, then the people are going to go down. And we can't let the banks go down. But that the money that they're going to use to inject into the market, which was like $3 trillion, right, is going to go to the banks and it's going to eventually trickle down. You know, and then they might wanted to make excuses like, well, like after they bailed out the banks and the bankers bailed themselves out, and then like, what was the trickling down supposed to come from? Well, yeah, there were supposed the houses are still, some houses just mortgages still got like that's what got saved, the mortgages, right? What happened? They gave themselves bonuses and there was no trickling down. Like the CEOs made more salaries and they gave themselves bonuses and you know what I'm saying? Like they reinvested their money into stocks. You know what I mean? And shit. Like they went and it didn't trickle down, right? At all. Like it didn't trickle down. And it stayed at the majority, it stayed at the upper level, high class of the top 10% of people anyway, right? The majority didn't trickle down. It didn't trickle down to the middle or lower class like they said it was going to do. You know what I mean? So they just basically like hoarded that money, right? And then that same money is what they wanted to get a tax cut on. Trump wanted to let banks charge, 37 or $35 for overdraft fees again. Even though that shit was eating people alive. You know what I mean? I don't have a bank account. Like, I'm scared to get a fucking bank account. You know what I mean? Fuck that. I'd rather not have a bank account because I remember paying $35 every single fucking every 3 weeks. You know what I mean? And it's like, fuck that shit. That shit eats people alive, bro. And it's like, and Kamala brought it down to $5. And then the first, he out of nowhere, he fucking cuts it during his administration to get back up to 35. Who the fuck would do something that evil? Right? It's already at $5 and you fucking just do away with it just because you hate Kamala and shit. You know what I'm saying? Just because you're a fucking racist ass, racist nigga. I hate that nigga. You know what I mean? Why the fuck would you get rid of some shit, you know what I mean, like that? Cause you a fucking faggot. You know what I mean? And you only care about rich white people. And these stupid idiots, vote for him like if they're billionaires. Like if they gonna get, like if they part of this ship too, like if they're barnacles. You know what I mean? That's what they're not the billionaire class, they're barnacles. Anyway, like I said, this faggot is trying to steer the ship and the motherfucker doesn't know where the fuck he's going. The type of faggot ass bitch that will probably jump out in the last second until the last life raft. Until the life raft and shit, like the faggot he is. Can you imagine Trump on the Titanic? You think that he would stare down the abyss of the cold Atlantic? Hell nah, that motherfucker would get on the boat. That motherfucker would be like, get the fuck out. He'd be like that motherfucker on the boat. Right? He'd be like doing the movie. Not Leonardo, obviously. Anyway, old ass movie. Y'all don't get the reference. The point that I'm trying to make is that that faggot bitch wouldn't go down with his ship. You know what I mean? Neither would these stinking millionaires that want to come around and say, oh, yeah, like, let us stay here or else we're gone. We're going to leave the country. Well, get the fuck out of here. I mean, you take your little squids with you. You're nothing but a bunch of motherfucking barnacles. I mean, on this ship of America. Amen. You know what I mean? And, and the beast, the financial markets is the Kraken. You know what I mean? And these judges and these motherfucking corrupt police are the squids. I mean, fuck it. You know what I mean? Type shit. But the okay, so anyway, what I was trying to say, right, is that what I was trying to say is that these capitalists, right, and these motherfuckers, like we have so many threats to be watching out for: kleptocracies, right, fascists, and even communism and Marxism. And I was learning about this today. And so when I realized something about Marxism that they said, because they blame the left for being Marxist, right? They blame the left for being Marxism. But one thing about that drew me in about Trump is that he's anarchist. He hates he's only in it for himself. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm not saying I like Trump. I say one of the things that I am not sympathetic, but that I understand, that I am sort of that a part of me is because I hate the system too, is anarchist about it. And you think that Trump is not an anarchist? He is an anarchist. He says himself. He looks at the media as a weapon, as a tool. He thinks that the courts and court cases are also a way to use as a weapon, to leverage, to use it as a tool for him to get what he wants. I mean, these are things that he normally does as court cases and media, right? That he likes to manipulate, right? Because it's not, for him, it's not about justice, and it's not about like truth or something. It's about him getting what he wants, using these things to get what he wants, right? And he writes about that shit. He says this shit. You know what I mean? And so he uses things not as they're supposed to do. He uses them as tools, right? With no respect to how he. I mean, it's like using the media, right, to push your own angle on shit. What he does is he says things, but he uses events too, but or doesn't say things, right? And things that he doesn't say that he tries to use as leverage. Like, what I'm saying? It's like motherfuckers talk about the art of the deal all the time and shit. You know what I mean? And really, all he is just a piece of fucking shit. The art of being a crook. You know what I mean? Is more like it. The art of being a crook. You know what I mean? That's not like it's like these people that say, sarcasm, right, is a sign of intelligence. I'm like, or it's the way that the devil talks. You know what I mean? Where you say something that's a complete fucking lie, right, with ulterior motives, preying on innocent minds that believe what you say, right? It's it just depends how you look at it. People are like, it's a sign of intelligence. I'm like, it's like it's like, no, it's just lying. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And it's like, they try, what Trump, they try to say it's the art of the deal. Motherfucker, it's just the art of being a crook. You know what I mean? Shit. I mean, that's all bullshit. Right? And so, this is the person that y'all chose to lead the country. You know what I mean? A man who's a fucking manipulative liar. And not only does that all his life as a living, but also wrote a book about it and is proud of the fact that he's a fucking crook and lying piece of shit. Right? And tries to tell other people to do the same thing, to be the same type of piece of shit. And this is the type of person that you want to run your country? Like, this is fucking insane. And not to mention, like, that he obviously does this every single day. You know what I mean? This is why there's so much controversy, so much bullshit around here, because he does this every single fucking day. This is just the type of person he is. You know what I mean? This is what he does. I mean, he's just a piece of shit, and he calls it an art or whatever. I don't know what the fuck he thinks he's. It's not smart. You know what I'm saying? It's not smart. Like I said, it's not smart. It's just evil. You know what I mean? It's just not evil. How do I say it? It's just wrong. It's just like, totally devoid of a conscience. You know what I mean? For you to for people to be like this. Like, for you to say that migrants are terrorists, and that they should say the truth, and that they should obey your laws and shit, obey your laws. That's completely. That's like, bruh. That's like you stretching it, bruh. Like, that's just not. It's not. It's not. Hell no. That's not what. It's just wrong. That's just wrong. I mean, like, it's crazy, man. It's just bad. It's just, how do I say it? But anyway, like I said, so I was thinking about this. You know what I mean? I learned something about communism today. You know what I mean? I never read the book, but people want you to believe that democracy is communism, when really when Democrats are like communists or something. When really, you know what I mean? Communists are communists, and you've never seen a real communist because because America has always intervened into it. I mean, but if anybody was going to be a communist, you know what I mean, I would have, first of all, communism was something that was coined by Karl Marx. Karl Marx was from Germany. You know what I mean? And shit, Karl Marx was from fucking Germany, wasn't he? So if he's from fucking Germany, right, he's like the Nazis, right? And the Nazis were trying to be like that a little bit, I guess. And if the Nazis were trying to be like that, I hate the Nazis, right? And so, motherfucker, if anybody has an inclination, because look, I'm gonna tell you this: no motherfucker in El Salvador fucking wrote or studied the motherfucking manifesto communism shit, the Communist Manifesto. Okay, them niggas probably don't even know. They probably read it, but they're like, "What the fuck?" Or they're like, "Oh, cool," or whatever. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about. You know what I mean, them niggas, that shit was created by fucking Germans. Okay, shit, nigga. So if anybody is gonna be a motherfucking communist, nigga, it's gonna be motherfucking Trump, nigga, and Elon Musk and Netanyahu, who are all three fucking descendants from Germans, nigga, from their father's side. You know what I'm saying? So go fuck yourself. And so, like, okay, my bad. But no, you want to say that black people and Hispanic people want to be communists, but y'all don't want to say that the German niggas, capitalists, that lost their fucking money 7 times, went bankrupt, that they don't have a vendetta out against capitalism. That billionaires that lost half their fortune because of Tesla, tanking and shit, that them niggas on Wall Street that lost their fucking money, that they didn't become atheist and materialistic, and that they don't have anything against any vendettas against the United States of America and against capitalism. But us, we motherfucking migrants or immigrants or minorities or, you know what I'm saying, black people or whatever, that we got something against America. All we doing is trying to survive, nigga, day by day, check by check, and that's literally how we survive, nigga. We don't give a fuck. Humbly, or people that are Christian that live humbly. We don't. I mean, shit. Look, in the streets, when niggas are materialistics and they fuck up their money, and then they get all mad as shit, nigga. Like they either end up dead or like that problem gets fixed pretty fucking quick. You know what I'm saying? Imagine a billionaire. You know what I mean? Imagine fucking Musk losing fucking hundreds of billions of dollars. You think that nigga's gonna look at us the same? You think that he's gonna look at America and be like, well, hey, that's so capitalistic. That's what happens in a capitalistic market. You're like, you don't think he's gonna have a problem against that? If anybody wanted to fuck up the system and capitalistic more, would have more motherfucking, like right now, would have more chances of becoming a communist, it's motherfucking Elon Musk, who lost hundreds of billions of dollars just now. You know what I'm saying? Or it would be Trump, who went bankrupt 7 times and had to inflate his number and had to lie. You know what I'm saying? If anybody wanted to fuck up and become a communist, it would be those German descendant motherfuckers who fucked up their shit in capitalism. In capitalism. So why the fuck would you want to tell me that the Democrats are communists when you have the direct descendants of Germans? And again, Karl Marx was German, and he's the one that created the term communism. And Hitler, also from Germany, is the one who became a fascist, right? You know what I'm saying? Why the fuck would you say the motherfucking sons and daughters of America and the ones who dream of coming over here who are poor would hate this place more than the capitalists who have fucked up their money, who have gained everything and lost everything here, right? Like Germans. You know what I mean? Like, why the fuck would you think that? It's so fucking stupid. You know what I mean? Like, nobody wants to say that the Germans could That's like saying that Salvadorians have more possibility of being a Nazi than the actual descendants of Nazis. I mean, like what the fuck are you talking about? I mean, shit, that's fucking stupid. I mean, shit, like what the hell? And so that's what they trying to say. Like, now I'm gonna be honest with you. We don't really give a fuck. We think we love America because America is America, right? Like that's why people come over here because we know how it's bad in other places. Why would we want to fuck up something like we hate America? Then why the fuck would we come over here? I mean, shit. The problem is, what about the motherfuckers that are already here that were only here because of the money, right? Just like the billionaires that Trump wants to bring here, and just like the ones that come here just to make money, they don't care about immigrants. Well, guess what, bitch? That America is not just for fucking billionaire pieces of fucking shit. You know what I mean? The Statue of Liberty confirms that, right? And so, what the fuck are y'all talking about? I mean, and so I was thinking about this today, right? That Trump, like, it don't make no sense, right? He don't make no sense. But I learned this about like he you know, anarchism. Like I said, that sometimes he acts like I understand what he's doing, and then the next second he's going against his own people. Then the next second he's saying he's Christian, and I'm like, oh shit, are you for real? And then the next second is like he's deporting migrants and putting them in concentration camps. So it's like, what the flying fuck is going on? I mean, it doesn't make no fucking sense, right? And it's like one minute, he, what I'm saying, type shit. He says he loves America and all that shit. And then he frees the Proud Boys, right? And they're like, oh, so he's a fucking he's a racist insurrectionist. Then he's like, oh, I hate Russia, or I don't know what the fuck. I mean, he doesn't make any sense. He goes against his own people. I mean, he's not even truly Republican, right? So it's like, what the hell? And then I read this about communism, which is that communism does the same thing. First, it fights democracy, and it fights democracy, right? That's what communism does. Oh wait, no. It says that that actually promotes democracy. Actually, it promotes democracy. It doesn't fight democracy. It promotes democracy. But then it turns on it. It not only what it does is it uses democracy to lead a revolution, and then after the revolution is completed, then it turns on the same shit. It turns on the fucking people. I don't know. And then eventually takes the power away from the people, right? That's how communism works, right? Eventually it gets, the what communism is that they start owning everything, right? And so it's like, how does the fuck does this shit happen, right? How does it happen? The people get bamboozled. The people work themselves into their own destruction, right? They hand everything over. The people are the ones that do the shit, right? Like they're the ones that fucking sell themselves out. Like they're the ones that topple their own government. They give their own power to the wealthy, and then that wealthy takes their own property. You know what I mean? So it's like, huh? And so it's like, I was thinking about Trump, and it's like what I was reading said, you know what I mean? The problem with it, the problem that we have to realize, right? About all this is that hold on one second. I'm killing these motherfucking people on Warzone. Well, what it says, right, basically, is that at the reason why they do that, and it makes no sense as to why they would first be for the democracy and then be against it. You know what I mean? It's because because I just saw this thing that said that the January 6ers, and MAGA and shit, how Trump used them, and then now he's throwing them under the bus, right? He's alienating from them. He's throwing them under the bus, And so they're like, why? Like, what the fuck? You know, we're off the tree. You know, the farmers, the people, you know, MAGA, even the January Sixers, right? They get kicked out of CPAC, you know, etc. You know, and or that's what I'm saying. Like, and I start thinking about Bukele too. Bukele did something similar where he was like all about the people. They voted him in, and yet he used the same type of momentum to do an investigation into the whole government, right? Like, you know, supposedly, you know what I'm saying? Like, supposed to be helping people, like, you know, taking care of the people or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I started thinking, I'm like, huh, like, you know, why the fuck, you know, like, why are they doing this? You know, obviously these motherfuckers are they're weird. They're slippery. They're like snakes. There's something about them that I can't figure them out. I can't quite put my finger on it between these fucking MAGA, these new age motherfuckers, right? The MAGA, the technocrats, Bukele, Trump, you know, all these bitch ass niggas. Like, you know, there's something about them that's really getting on my fucking nerves, bro. And I don't trust them. You know what I mean? And I see that I call them Judas. You know, there's something really wrong with them. They're liars. You know what I mean? But what is their end game? And so the communism shit, right? What I was thinking about, what I was hearing about, you know, stipulated the fact that in order to become communist, they do the same thing. And the reason they do it is because at the time in which they do it, it's necessary, it's beneficial to them, it helps them to do it, right? They do it because they need the democracy to get the people on their side in order to get rid of their, you know, whatever, you know, like it's like, because it benefits them at the time, but then afterwards it doesn't, because their goals change. And after, when they, you know, after the revolution, first they, you know, lead a democracy and blah blah blah, then they have a revolution, and then after the revolution they come after the people, right? And then and eventually they take all the things of the people. Eventually communism takes over. So I'm like, damn, bro. And I start thinking, bro, what if, right, and hear me out, what if fucking Trump is a communist? I mean, what if Trump and Bukele and these faggot ass motherfuckers are actually communists? You know, that would explain a lot of shit. You know what I mean? Given the fact that even the Republican Party, even MAGA is like fractured. You know what I mean? And like, you know, they're not really on the same page. It's like the Nazis found out that he wasn't really a Nazi, and they're trying to assassinate him so they can start a race war. You know what I mean? Yet, you know what I mean, motherfucker, neither is the January 6th, you know, fucking insurrectionists. Like, I don't know what the fuck is going on. The Republicans are all fucked. You know what I mean? Like, they're all liars. I mean, they're not really Christians. You know what I mean? The whole Christian stick is getting old, right? Because given the fact it's just every time it's disrespectful, right? But he used some of that to gain his power, right? Like, he used the Christian nationalism in order to gain power, and they're going to continue to do so, because I already know what they're trying to do. I mean, at least at one point, you know, which is what nations trying to do. They're trying to replenish their ranks, right? They're trying to make white people the majority again, right? Damn it. Um, but yeah, dude. Like, I wonder, bro. But it, like, so put this into perspective, though. One of the things that communists don't have is they don't really believe in God. They don't believe in God, right? And any God. Well, Karl Marx didn't believe in God, and you know, and one of those things that you have to in order to be enslaved, which is like what communism sort of does in a way, to the point that you give up your property, you give up your things, and it becomes the state's, not yours. You know what I mean? Even though I would say that that's still true even to this day and age, because people don't really own their property; they still have to pay taxes. And if you stop paying taxes, then they'll take your shit. And if you don't truly own your property here, neither, they extort you. I mean, and so what is this place? It's not land of the free, home of the brave like it's supposed to. Like you don't even own your property. And so anyway, so anyway, like yeah. So I was thinking about that, right, and how basically Trump might be a communist. And that put things in perspective. Why he's so weird and why he's like on his own and shit. But believe me, if anybody was gonna be a communist, you literally think it'd be Kamala or nigga or even Biden. Biden's Irish, right? Nigga, but why wouldn't it be the German billionaire? You know what I mean? Trump. You know what I mean? Why wouldn't it be that faggot? You know, that's where communism comes from. Germany. I mean, why wouldn't it be Elon Musk? That's where he's from, Germany too. Why wouldn't it be Netanyahu? He's from Germany too. You know what I mean? Or all their followers. Why would it come from the fucking left? Not we nigga we from the US. You know what I mean? I ain't with that shit. I ain't with no other shit. Like I'm not into globalists. I'm into helping the world to make it be a better place. Because I love this country, right? I'm into helping every nation, right? As like if I go there, I'll be like I'm an American. You know what I mean? And I love my country and freedom and Jesus. You know what I mean? But what I'm saying? Like it's not perfect, but those things are the most important. You know what I mean? Those are the things that matter, right? But if you talk to Trump and shit, he like, oh, I don't like this shit, and whatever. MAGA, same shit. I don't like this shit, and I think it's because they don't have God. They have money. You know what I mean? They worship money and materialism and progressism and scientism and all these other fucking isms, right? So anyway, yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Hope you guys understood. Thanks for my little TED talk.